Hi. So, something that has always been really useful for me in the practice of healing has been practice itself. Because that, in many ways, is what healing is about. Healing is about doing the hard work. Healing is about accepting yourself, accepting the world the way that it is, but also choosing to take a step forward. Healing is about taking action and forgiving the experience as a whole, yourself and others included, but in a way that is transcendent of that, in a way that recognizes the other as a deeply loving part of yourself. But one of the practices that has helped me so much specifically is the practice of pure perception. Is the practice of not only being aware of what is right in front of you, but of practicing the idea and the truth, really, that whoever or whatever you see is perfect, is a Buddha, is divine. It starts off probably easy, but maybe hard for some. And that's okay. That's perfect too. To be able to see these things as they pop up. Right? It starts off and you see small judgments, small discriminations, small ignorances that you project outward as a point of subjective consciousness. But when you practice of seeing what you have right in front of you, sights, sounds, thoughts, emotions, as a mandala of divinity, and you find yourself hating an aspect or judging or othering something directly in your awareness, you realize that you are just hating an aspect of yourself. Our sense of bigotry and hierarchy and possession begin to dissipate more and more when we see everything as a whole and also a unique and individual expression for divinity. The experience can be somewhat out here, right? And there has to be a way to bridge it back to the body, to bridge it back to a space where you can project this in and back around to yourself rather than constantly projecting it outward. To project it in a cyclic fashion that, is seen throughout nature, so that we can use this energy that we build to feed our own internal experience so that we can get the most out of our lives. Getting back to the body, for me, has really started with that ancestry bridge that I've talked about, for seeing this phenomenal world in front of us as, and if you are purely scientific, an expression of the subconscious. I think even at this point, how science has filled in so many of those gaps to come back around to quantum consciousness. It's like science doing that in and of itself. It's using the aspects of nature to show that nature to itself, to show that its nature is based on the observer effect, is based on our own consciousness. Our own fears, our own limitations become more understandable why they're such an important thing to address, because those sit within our conscious, those sit within our subconscious. Those can be addressed. If we don't address them, we realize that we let patterns from the past control who we are here in the present moment and go on to create a future that we may or may not want. And if we can see that, we can maybe collectively start making a better future. We have enough metaphor, right? There's this idea that in a lot of an ancient wisdom, that as above, so below, as within, so without. And when you start to understand what that means, and you see the metaphors of life around us, kind of like breaking through to reality, breaking like taking a microscope to nature, or even a telescope to nature, so far out or so far in that you're getting to points where you're seeing, galaxies that shouldn't exist, or atoms being able to conceptually be in two places at once, right? It's it's kind of like broken itself, not only in the realm of science, but also in the realm of science fiction, where we may have a truer representation of what our consciousness, our conscious experience of life can be when we learn to work within our limitations, right? It just takes time, it takes growth, it takes healing, a lot of healing. And there's I guess a lot of healing to be done in all different fashions. We have to accept the healing related to our discrimination, really deep. And not only related to people and things in the past, but also to our conception of things that are here right now and where they might take us into the future. You see a lot in the media this idea related to maybe tapping into AI, having your mind put into some sort of Black Mirror type episode. And there's a lot of fear associated with that. The Matrix is a classic one, and you unplug from the Matrix and you wake up to this dark, scary world. But that's the truth. At least the experience that I've had in many ways. Hidden behind sort of unknowing, a veil of probably forgetfulness. It seems like when we start to understand the truths connected to objective consciousness, to objective reality more and more, we suddenly come to know that this is something that we've always known. This isn't really that big of a surprise, even when it continues to be very surprising. Because it feels like it's something that we've known since we were young. In many ways, I'm talking to a part of you that already knows this, that hears this and isn't afraid. Those fears, when it comes to AI and the future, makes sense in a very materialistic fashion. If you're looking at it consciousness can be held inside of a server, or as if it's held inside of a body. We've been trained a long time But sometimes we just need to hear it. This is a vibratory universe. This is flowing through electricity, which is a representation of the expansive nature of the divine, of the force of creation, at least, yeah, like I said, on esoteric, on an occult sense. And I hope this is being spread in a way where you can really see what I'm saying, where you could really experience the value of having what you might call a back end, right? If the consciousness could be held in something like a server or a body, then yeah, that would be entirely frightening, because consciousness would be just solely subjective and from like just one point. But it's everywhere. And these metaphors like that we have all around us are just patterns upon patterns that are a doorway to how things really are. And the recognition that not only can no server hold consciousness or no body hold consciousness, but we can actually use these ideas to overcome our expose our aversion to this experience. Even that, even your fears, even your aversions, those things are deeply divine. The whole interconnection of the world through this modern technology are dreams of people who have experienced in their past moments when this was not even close to a reality. Using the parts of nature to reveal itself, looking more and more in till you're in a lived experience that actually, even though it's super material, resembles the true nature of all things. The only measuring device that you really have, the best measuring device as someone who's experiencing this from a subjective perspective, is to practice seeing nature like I spoke recently. At least this has been the number one thing for me, is practice seeing nature in a way where you're not being amazed by the phenomenal aspects of it. Also try that in your house. Try that in anywhere. Try that when you're interacting with technology. You know, it doesn't have to be exactly talking to an AI bot or anything like that. But the same nature that you see presented in front of you is the same nature that you go out in the world and see. And when you're seeing it online, you're seeing it in a way where it's just more believable. You might think to yourself, oh, that was weird or that was strange, but whatever. You get a little, you get a little distracted by Maya. But if you can just go through and non-reactive within yourself and just observe, right? I mean, the observer itself is something that kind of flows into the whole thing. But you'll see that also in nature. You'll go out in nature, read that book, or just stare lovingly at a point. And don't look at all the amazing things that happen around you. And you'll see that it's one and the same. That this technological reality and the metaphors it brings also connect us to the same divinity, the same consciousness, the same energy found in every living, breathing thing. And that when we can expand our sense of self to include this aspect too, to supersede all of our small frights when we realize all is this one vibrating thing, it's great. Again, I'm absolutely talking to a part of you that already knows this, that is fully aware of this, that completely understands this, and hears the message that I'm saying right now, and is ready for a massive transformation in their life that goes beyond all these petty daily squabbles we create for ourselves and the political sphere that we know is eating itself up alive. We can start to live our lives right now. It's never a good enough time. If we tell ourselves it's never a good enough time to start seeing the world as a wonderful, amazing, divine experience that gives us the opportunity to do and be so much more. So yeah, I think that is this video. Hopefully that one worked. I did one and it disappeared, but this one probably won't. So love you all. Take care.